Good Saturday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. We have more Great Plains severe weather setups ahead through this weekend with large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes possible. We'll get into those details. And then a major heat wave will build into next week, especially if you live across the Mississippi Valley. How warm will temperatures get? And we'll look very early at your Father's Day weekend forecast with the temperature and precipitation trends as we see it right now. We'll get into those details later on in today's video. But going back to yesterday, it was a very busy day as expected across the western high plains and the Rocky Mountain states, where we actually had several tornado reports, especially there into eastern Colorado. We had 6 reported tornadoes across the United States, 14 wind reports, 44 hail reports, with 4 of those being 2-inch or larger diameter hailstones, and 64 severe weather reports going all the way back to Friday, May 26th. And here we go again, another day for severe storms in very similar locales as well across portions of the western high plains all the way up here into eastern Montana, western Dakotas, all the way south here into eastern New Mexico and West Texas, with the higher chance of severe weather in this yellow outlined area. That is a level 2 out of 5, a slight risk across southeastern Montana, eastern Wyoming, getting into western South Dakota, western Nebraska, and northeastern Colorado later on today. And this does include a threat for tornadoes. Now, it is a low threat, it's a 2% shading, but there is a threat for tornadoes if you do live into eastern Wyoming, southwestern South Dakota, western Nebraska, and northeastern Colorado as we head throughout the day on Saturday today. So looking at the time frame with these storms, much of like what we've seen the last couple of days through the morning hours and early afternoon. While I can't rule out a shower or a storm across the western high plains, most of us, 80 to 90% of us, will be dry through at least noon or 1 o'clock Central Time this afternoon. But as we get into peak daytime heating, 3, 4, 5 o'clock this afternoon, and then around dinner time, this is at 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and we are seeing storms firing up again across the very same areas, or at least very similar areas to yesterday, across the western high plains here from eastern Montana, the western Dakotas, eastern Wyoming, all the way south into eastern portions of New Mexico and West Texas. This does include the threat for all 3 modes of severe weather. Tornadoes are on the table, large hail, and damaging winds with this setup, and these storms will persist well after dark through the midnight time frame. So even if we have some of the sunlight starting to dwindle out there going into the sunset time frame, we will still have the lightning and the thunderstorms to contend with going through that midnight time frame here into Sunday morning before those storms fizzle out right before sunrise on Sunday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning. And then, oh yeah, on Sunday, another chance for severe storms again across the very same areas, another slight risk down there into the central plains. And then on Monday, Memorial Day, the area highlighted is up here into the Dakotas, as we could be seeing a marginal risk for severe weather on Monday. That's a level 1 out of 5 on the scale as we get into Memorial Day itself. Well, we do have drought continuing across the central and southern plains. If you have any of these colors showing up, you are in drought. So even if you have the yellows or oranges, that's abnormally dry to moderate drought. When you start to see these reds and maroon reds here, especially into eastern Nebraska, much of Kansas here, getting into western Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle, that is extreme or exceptional drought, and that's the highest on the drought category here. That does continue across the central and southern plains, but we will be seeing some rainfall added on to those areas that do have the drought continuing. So we will be chipping away ever so slightly at this drought over the next several days. While some areas could miss out on some of the rain, other areas could get very lucky in seeing over an inch of rain, especially down here into the Texas Panhandle, parts of western Kansas, getting up here into the western Dakotas, western Nebraska, areas that desperately need the rainfall. So that is some good news through early next week. And we have a tropical feature we're continuing to watch across the Carolinas, bringing some heavy rainfall across those areas from Virginia down through the Carolinas, eastern Georgia there, maybe eastern Tennessee. Some of those areas like Raleigh, North Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, the Myrtle Beach area, we could be seeing well over 2, 3, even 4 inches of rain going into early next week through Tuesday morning on May 30th. So definitely watch out for some flooding across those areas. But if you like today's video, be sure to press the thumbs up button down below the video. I definitely appreciate it, and it definitely helps out more than you know. So I appreciate that again. And if you are new to the YouTube channel, if you have not been here before, make sure to subscribe down below. It's free to do, and you get all of these daily weather forecasts updates every single morning at 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time on this channel. We're quickly growing to near 31,000 subscribers, so I do appreciate all the new followers out there and all the old followers as well. Again, I appreciate it more than you know. But as we go through today, looking at the temperature trends, we do have a Rex block. This is a Rex blocking pattern starting to set up where we have a ridge over the top here into southern and southeastern Canada and the northern United States. We have a trough down here across the southern and southeastern United States, again associated with that tropical feature just off the coast there of the Carolinas today. And what a Rex blocking pattern is exactly what it means. It has a ridge over the top here across portions of the southern Canada, the northern United States, and then we have a trough underneath that here again across the southern United States and the southeast going into next week. And this continues right straight through Memorial Day itself on Monday, May 29th, as well as going into the middle of next week on Wednesday, May 31st. So this Rex blocking pattern is one of the tougher blocking patterns to break, and it will be sticking around for quite some time. So looking at the temperatures today, pretty decent out here across the Mississippi Valley and the Midwest. Temperatures will be in the 70s, 80s, not too hot, not too cool, decent temperatures. So definitely get outside and enjoy it, because we will start to warm up as we get later on into this weekend, Sunday, and then into Memorial Day on Monday. We'll start to see more middle and upper 80s become more common across especially the middle and lower Mississippi Valley, and then 90s pushing all the way up, not only into the Missouri Valley, but also into parts of Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Illinois as we get into the middle of next week on Wednesday, May 31st to close out the month. So a steamy summer-like pattern is just around the corner as we get into next week, and this pattern does have some staying power. This goes all the way through Monday, June 5th, and we still have that Rex blocking pattern with the ridge over the top here with likely, if not very likely, above average temperatures getting through the following weekend, and then the troughs underneath will prevail as well, with more cooler than normal temperatures going across the southwestern United States, the southern plains, and the southeast going through that Monday, June 5th timeframe. Looking at precipitation trends during this period, again, we are going to be warmer up to the north, so this does concern me for a little bit of some drought, especially across the Ohio Valley and back into portions of the Illinois Valley, but it will be very wet, very soggy out here across the western United States, the Rockies, and down across the southern plains going through the first week or so of June. And this pattern does continue right straight through the second week in June. This is the following weekend again, and we start to see this on Friday, June 9th, still warmer than normal conditions across the north and northwest, and troughing underneath across the southern United States and parts of the east as well during this period. And it will remain dry, so the drought will continue to worsen across portions of the Ohio Valley and the Illinois Valley, and we also will be seeing wetter conditions across the west and across the southern plains through that June 9th timeframe. And again, this is the area we're watching for drought during that June 3rd through the June 9th timeframe into the second week in June, developing across southeastern Iowa, northeast Missouri, much of the central Illinois Valley here around the Peoria, Illinois region, getting down towards Springfield, Illinois, Indianapolis there into central Indiana, and as far east as the Cincinnati, Dayton, Ohio areas as well, into western and southwestern Ohio. We definitely need to watch out for a drought developing as we move through early June. And looking at the severe weather trends during the first full week in June, the instability will be stronger down here across the central and southern plains, and really just across the Great Plains in general. So that is where the severe weather will remain through the first 7 days or so of June across the Dakotas, getting down through Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and North Texas as we get through the first several days there of June. But things start to change as we move into the second week in June. This is June 8th through June 15th. We have more troughing out here across the west and more ridging starting to build farther to the east. So we start to slowly break down the Rex blocking pattern as we get into the second week into June here. And you can see, don't take these temperatures verbatim because this will change, but the trend is there that the ridge axis will start to nudge its way further to the north across South Dakota, Iowa, Nebraska here, and then firmly underneath the ridge if you live into Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. And I promise you, these numbers will probably be a lot warmer than they show up here with the 80s on this map. I definitely guarantee you that. And the instability will be building across the Central Plains again, and maybe even the Northern Plains as we get into June 8th through June 15th. And this is a concern because the airflow with the high pressure system, if it does set up shop across the southeast as indicated on this map, we have the airflow clockwise around the high pressure, and if it's strong enough in the mid and upper levels, we could be setting up more of a progressive MCS or progressive derecho pattern getting in toward that second weekend of June, and certainly toward that Father's Day weekend time frame. So my thoughts, my severe weather forecast from June 8th through June 15th does have the possible severe weather with a derecho pattern potentially setting up. Not a guarantee, but definitely a possibility across eastern Montana, the Dakotas, down through Minnesota, the upper Midwest here into the Ohio Valley. And then as we go into Father's Day weekend, this is a couple weeks out, so things can change, but it does look like that ridge builds even further north into the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes, so we will be sweating it out across the eastern United States, more troughs across the west with some active weather. And you can see the ridge axis moves a little bit further to the north toward that Father's Day weekend time frame, further into the Dakotas, further into Minnesota and Wisconsin, and has the northern periphery of the ridge as of now across North Dakota, portions of northern Minnesota, and the upper Great Lakes region. And as we see it now as well, the strong instability will be there and definitely will be building. However, I do think this model is a little overdoing some of the instability. However, with the dew points probably aren't going to be as strong across portions of the Illinois Valley, parts of Iowa, Indiana, because of the dew points are really not going to be there. We're going to be in a drought, so not much moisture to advect out of the ground. So it does have a little pause on this, but there will be some stronger instability probably a little bit further off to the north and west. And so I do think my severe weather forecast for Father's Day weekend will reside a bit further north, with the periphery of that ridge building further north. I think it'll be again across eastern Montana, especially into North Dakota. Watch it up here into southern Saskatchewan, southern Manitoba, getting into Ontario here, and then up across northern Wisconsin now, getting into Michigan and parts of the New England region, into western New York, Pennsylvania here, and portions of northeastern Ohio during that Father's Day weekend time frame. This could change and probably will in the coming days. I will be adjusting this map as we get a little bit closer, but thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to follow me on Twitter for additional weather forecast updates, hit the description below and follow me on Twitter at hweather420. I update on there very frequently. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I hope everybody's having a great Saturday out there. If you guys like today's video, give it a thumbs up down below. Leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. I'll get to those later on today. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new, and hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Have a great Saturday, everybody. A great holiday weekend, and I will see you all in the next video.